how to summarize today, and for that we are going to follow a procedure. We're going to follow some steps, 3 steps to be more specific. And the first thing we are going to do when we summarize is to read the text. You may say, well, that's obvious, duh. But the reason is that the first step is because you need to understand what you're reading in order to know how to come up with a different way to say it later on when you have to summarize. You have to pay attention to some specific words because those words are the one that you will need to replace later on. It's not just about reading and repeating some isolated text, or isolated lines. You need to read and you need to understand what you are reading. All right? So that's the first step that you will have or that you will take in order to understand. You will take 2 minutes to read the text that we have today. Of course, if you're reading a book or something else, it will take longer, depending on how long your text is. But in this case, the text that we identify today in our material, you only need 2 minutes to read them completely. All right? The second step that we are going to make, or we're going to take, is to highlight some keywords or phrases. What we mean with keywords, we mean words like nouns that are things, words like actions and verbs, and words like adjectives. The adjective sometimes is important because it will give you some context, some details, some description about what is it that you're trying to explain. So you would highlight all the nouns that you see in the text when you think it is important. You can highlight if you have a marker, or you can underline if you have a pen or a pencil or something, right? And what is it that you're going to do with that? Well, you are going to take those words, you are going to extract them from the text, and you are going to write it down somewhere else. You can have a piece of paper and a pen next to you, or a notebook, or if you're using a computer, just open a text editor or something and just paste it there, copy paste them. You need to write it down in form of a list, in form of a bullet point, all of these words or phrases that you find important. That's gonna be the second step. After you have that, you would say, well, what do I do with that? They're just simple words that I just wrote down, and that doesn't make any sense if I don't do anything with that. Well, once you have those words, then you need to rearrange them and to try to come up with a sentence that will make sense, that will be coherent. You will need to include all of these words and phrases, and you will need to paraphrase perhaps some of these phrases. It's not just about copying, rearrange them, building a sentence and using all of the same words. The idea is to use those words as an idea of what to write about. You will need to answer the question, who did what, or what happened, and you use the words to answer that question. Depending on the text, maybe the who question is not important. Maybe the where question is important. Maybe it's a text about a place. Or maybe it's a text about a moment in time. So where would not be important perhaps, or who or what, but maybe when will be important. So depending on the text, there are going to be certain questions that you would answer using those words, But generally, is about who did what and what happened, generally. Not always, but mostly. If I go too fast, please just stop me, and if you have any questions, just ask me. Otherwise, if you keep silent, I would assume you understand everything I say, and I would just go on. All right? So if you have any question or something, just stop me. All right? So you would use those keywords that you wrote down, and you would try to build a sentence with those words. Remember, you need to have a subject, a verb, and a complement. Who did what? Rearranging these words perhaps would take most of your time. That's why we have recognized here that you would take 7 minutes for these texts to summarize. That sentence, that will be your summary. The result of joining all these words in a coherent sentence, that would be your summary. When you do that third part, there are a couple of things that you should not do. And those are things like including your own ideas. When you are joining these words, you're trying to come up with a sentence, trying to build a sentence. Don't include your own idea of the text, of the article. You just need to use the words that you wrote down and make it have sense. That's it. Don't include your own idea. Other thing that you should not do is write down exactly the same words that you extracted from the text. You need to paraphrase them. You need to find the synonyms of those words, or perhaps an opposite, and rearrange the sentence in order to accommodate to the opposite, to the antonym. And you do that in order to be original, in order not to just repeat things. So don't steal whole phrases, or don't write the exact same word or the exact same thing. Try to use your own word. Borrowing some word is okay. You can use some words, because sometimes there are just things that you cannot replace. You have to write them down. For instance, names or places or things that people have. Those are things that you cannot replace. You cannot put a synonym on that. So that's okay. But when you use verbs, for examples, you can use a different verb. When you see an adjective, you can use a synonym. That's okay. Another thing that you should not do, even if you see it on the text, is to use grammar. They are perhaps too complicated for you. When you see a verb conjugated in a certain way, or in a tense that perhaps you're not comfortable with, then guess what? I guess you should reorganize again the sentence in order to use a grammar that you are comfortable with. All right? Same goes with the vocabulary. If you see a word and you say, well, that seems to be an important word, but I don't understand it, I will use it anyway because, I don't know what other thing to say about that or instead of that. Because if you use that word and perhaps if somebody asks you a question about that word, you may not know how to respond to that because you don't know what that word means. You will be speaking about something you don't know. So try not to use words that you don't fully understand. That also goes with a synonym. When you try to find a synonym, perhaps by translating in Google's Translator or trying to Google a synonym, and you find a word that says this is the synonym, but you don't understand that word, then don't use that word. All right? Use only the vocabulary that you know about, that you are comfortable with. And the last thing that you should not do is to include too many details. You can mention one example, that's okay, just to illustrate your idea, just to complete your idea of the text, of the subject. But don't mention too many examples, too many details. It is actually recommendable that you ignore as much details as you can, because that's the summary. The summary just keeps the main point, not the details. All right? Any questions till now? Are you all following me?
Johnny, but
Yeah.
we are going to
Yes.
do example, yes?
Yeah, I'm going to give
Okay.
examples now, but I want to know if you understand everything I'm saying till now.
Yeah, I think it's clear. Yeah, at least for me, it's clear.
Okay, good. So, we will put in practice these 3 steps. We have a text example. It's not too long, it's not too short. It's perfect for summarizing it. Who would like to volunteer to read this text?
You mean which one, Johnny?
I'm showing
Which
my
text?
screen, and you also have the
I
material.
can't
If
see
you
your screen. I can't see
you,
your
I can
screen.
read it.
you can,
So I can't.
good, good.
Yeah.
I'm
But
asking about this
but I have
text. Mm-hmm.
I
You have what?
cannot see your screen. I cannot see your screen. I don't see your screen.
You
Just tell me
cannot
which
see
text.
my
I
screen.
have I don't. Yes, I can. I don't see your screen. But I am using my mobile phone. Maybe that's why. Just tell me which text are you going through.
There is
I have downloaded materials.
okay. If you have the material, you look at the page number 2. You see
Yes.
step 1, read. There is a text in green with a green background.
What
Okay?
is what is the topic of text?
The topic is about drugs and
Okay.
test subjects.
Okay. Okay. I can see that. Okay.
Okay, it says step 1, read. Right, and you see a
Okay.
text with a green, light green background. Okay, that's the text I'm talking about. That's the text I'm showing in my screen right now. So, who volunteers to read this?
Yeah.
Babuti?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Give me a second. Yeah. Okay, step 1, read. 30 healthy adults perform a gambling task on 2 separate occasions. Once after receiving a drug called LDOPA, and once
L-DOPA.
after receiving a plate L-DOPA. Yeah,
DOPA.
call it L-DOPA. DOPA. And once after receiving a placebo.
Placebo.
Placebo. The test required subjects to choose between safe and risk option that led to monetary gain and losses. Sometimes the subjects could choose between a small reward or a gamble where there were equal chances of winning a larger reward or getting nothing. At the time, subject could accept a small lose or choose a gamble where there were equal chances of losing a large amount or losing nothing. During the testing, subjects were repeatedly asked, how happy are you at this moment? The research found that subjects took more risk to try to get a bigger reward after receiving L-DOPA, but not placebo. After receiving L-DOPA, subjects choose more risky option regardless of how much larger the potential reward was compared to the safe alternative. Subjects were happier after winning a small reward while on L-DOPA than they were winning the same reward while on placebo. Placebo. Placebo happiness was higher after large rewards than after small rewards. But on L-DOPA, subjects were as happy about small rewards as they were about large rewards.
Very good, Babuti. Um,
Yeah.
so, if we were reading something normally in a reading session with Rick, he would ask you, what's the paragraph about, you know?
Yeah.
And what you would do perhaps is just make a quick scan, right? And you would focus on specific lines, right? I guess, I assume, I suppose. And you would try
Yeah.
to relate that line, that sentence with another sentence down below, perhaps, and try to get some kind of idea out of it, right?
Yes.
That's something that perhaps most people would do, including me. Sometimes I do that. But I'm gonna teach you the right way to summarize something. Well, if you have time, of course.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. So the next step, now that you have read, the next steps, like we said before, is to highlight or to underline just nouns, the things, and the verbs, and some phrases that you consider it is important, and some adjectives just to provide some kind of details later on. So if you look at this text, I have done previously. I have highlighted all the important words that I would use, that I would extract from this text. This is step 2. Remember, just highlight some keywords. And the keywords that I identify in this text are 30, adults, gambling, a drug called L-DOPA. That's a phrase, and that's something that I consider is important, because that's what the text is gonna be about. I highlighted the word placebo. That's also important. Monetary gain and losses, also important, that I will rephrase later on. And a phrase or a sentence in this case. Subjects were repeatedly asked, how happy are you at this moment? I also highlighted bigger rewards after receiving L-DOPA. That's an important info. Choose more risky options, also very important info. And happier after winning a small reward while on L-DOPA, meaning while on drugs. That's also important. The rest, I consider it was just details, a lot of details. So remember, what I should do is just to ignore the details. So I just cross-lined all the other lines, and I kept only those words. So what is the next step? Now that I highlighted all these words, I still can't come up with any kind of summary. I still don't get the idea by just watching so many lines. There are different colors and cross line. I still don't get any. It's not useful in this way. So I need to get rid of all the things that I don't need. Okay, and just keep the keywords. So the second sub step in step 2 is just to take those words, take them out and put it somewhere else. And I put it here. So you see the same words that are highlighted in the text. These are the same words. I trust that you're still watching my screen. And I just put it as a bullet point. Now I need to use it. I need to put all of these words in form of a sentence. How do I do that? Well, I need to have, remember, I need to have a subject, an action, and a complement. I wanted to have all of these words in just one sentence. I cannot use a synonym for 30 adults. You know, that's important. I cannot replace that. Perhaps I could replace gambling, but I won't. A drug called L-Dopa, that's something that also I cannot replace. A placebo is also, I consider it something that I cannot replace, even if I have some kind of synonym. But I think it is short enough and straight to the point if I just use that word. Monetary gain and losses, that's something that I could rephrase later. So I have all of these points. I just needed to put it in a sentence now. I came across with one problem. I took one of these bullet points. Subjects were repeatedly asked, how happy are you at this moment? I consider it was an important sentence. The problem is I shouldn't use the same words or the same way. I need to rephrase this. I need to paraphrase. Paraphrasing means just to say the same thing in a different way. Correct?
Yeah.
So, I will ask all of you this question. What is the simplest way to paraphrase this sentence? In other words, what is the simplest way to say the same thing, but using different words? If it is shorter, even better. Any ideas? You can provide your sentence in the chat box if you can't speak right at this moment. What is the simplest way to paraphrase this sentence? Subjects were repeatedly asked, how happy are you at this moment? Catherine? Catherine? Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what is a different way to say the same thing?
Uh, subjects. Um, as what happened?
Any idea?
May I?
Yes, please.
Maybe the idea would be subject were repeatedly asked about the level of happiness at the moment.
That's good. The level of happiness. Now, when you read happy, how happy are you at this moment? They're talking about a feeling, right? The feeling of happiness and how much of that happiness, how much of that feeling they have. So yes, they're talking about some kind of level of that feeling. So that will be another good way to rephrase that. However, the first part is still the same.
Yes.
So how can you complete
Subject were asked again, or question about happiness was asked again.
again, yeah, again and again, or time and again,
Yeah,
right?
yes, yes.
That
Yes,
will be
again and again.
again and again, right? That will be another good way to say it. Or if you want, you can just eliminate that part. Because if you think it through, it's not actually important how many times they were asked. The important thing is that they were asked, right?
Yes,
So you could also just say subject were asked, you know,
yes.
about
About happiness.
their happiness level. Very good. That is another good way to. That's actually the one of the way that I can come up with. That I came up with. Um, any other way that you can think of, Babuti?
Yeah, I wrote it down. I don't know if it's
Subject
okay. Subjects have,
have to say have to say how happy they are at a particular moment. Uh, yeah, that could work. Just remember you are speaking in past tense, so the verb have to
yeah,
be in past tense.
yeah,
Subject have
yes.
to say, have to say. Actually, if you're talking about, if the original test says asked, it means there was a question.
Yeah,
So you need to relate that. So and the word say doesn't fully relate to that word. So perhaps
yeah, yeah, yes.
if you use
You can say it
answered,
without any question. Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
if you
okay.
instead of using the word say, if you use the verb answer, that will actually have more sense because if you use the verb answer, would imply that there was a question, right?
Yeah,
So you would say
yeah.
subject
Subject were
has to
quizzed.
answer. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Subject were quizzed, also quizzed how happy they were. They were at a particular moment. Yeah.
Quiz it.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound right.
yeah,
Maybe
okay.
maybe questioned. You know,
No question. Yeah, okay.
subjects were questioned how happy they are at the moment. You know,
Could
sure.
Johnny,
Yeah.
could we say subject were surveyed about level of happiness? Could we say that?
Surveyed. Mm, it's not quite the same because a survey is a group of questions actually. And they were asked
Yeah,
just one question. So it's
yeah.
related, but it's not exactly the
Not the
same
same.
thing. Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
yeah, right.
something different, and it wouldn't sound coherent.
Yeah, right.
So if you can't just replace where asked, just keep it. That's okay. At least the other part you can, rephrase. Their happiness level, that was good, Maggie. How happy they were at the moment, that's also good, Bobuti. What about you,
Okay.
Camille?
I talked,
Hello?
for example,
Mm-hmm.
I talked. The people were asked how happy they were at the moment.
How happy they were at the moment. That's pretty much similar to what Bobuti says.
It's, yeah,
And
because
that works too. That works too. So you two reach to the same, kind of answer. That's correct. But is there any other way that you would say that? No?
maybe no, I'm not sure.
All right. And welcome, Khalil. Khalil.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, Stark. You're
All
doing it
right.
fine. Yeah, what are you doing, guys?
We are having a summarizing lesson
About?
about summarizing.
Oh, summarizing, like how to summarize like a big paragraph.
Exactly. how to summarize a text. We are
Oh, I
going
see.
through the steps that we identified earlier.
Uh-huh.
If you have the material, if you go to the website, download the material, you will see all these steps. We already explained that, so I'm not going to explain that again. But
No,
it's
it's
very
okay.
well explained in the material. So we are just going
What is
through
the
that
material?
process.
Can you resend the materials? Resend. Oh, wait. Is it the one that say the schedule for this week has been updated? That one?
Yeah, it is always in the
Okay.
same place. It's in the princeandmodule.com/materials. We always put it in
Okay.
the
What
same
about
place.
the screen that I'm seeing now? What is the simplest way to paraphrase this sentence?
Yeah, now we are at this point of the material. So again, if
Okay.
you open the material, we are at this point. If you just scan and
Okay.
you see, oh, where is that? Oh, there it is. We are at that point. We already read
Okay.
the text. We already highlighted
Mm-hmm.
the keywords.
Mm-hmm.
We already extract them.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back in my presentation.
Oh, now you're paraphrasing.
Yeah, we had this text, if you can see my screen. We had
Yeah,
this
I can.
text. That the first step was to just read and understand what the text is about. The second step is to highlight keywords, words that are important, words like nouns, words like adjectives and verbs and phrases that are important. We did that, and we underscore all the other not important lines of the text. The second sub-step we did was to write them down in a separate way, so that will be clear for you what you're going to write about later. Because you need to grab all of these words and transform them into a sentence. You have to be coherent. You have to have a subject, an action.
Meaningful.
Exactly. It has to have a meaning, and it has to be short. And we were saying that in order to do that, you need to also perhaps change some word, use some synonym, because it's not only about putting in place into a sentence. It is also about changing the words.
That you change the words?
You change the word, and what we mean by that is just don't just copy paste a word. You need to come up with your own words. Otherwise, you will just repeating. So that's why we say there are some words that you will need to rephrase. You will need to paraphrase, or you need to find a synonym, right? And we identify one of these bullet points that we could do that. And this is the point that we are right now. So I was asking them, what is another way to say this?
What is the simplest way to paraphrase this sentence? Another thing that I wanted to make sure of, do we get rid of examples when summarizing?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to ignore details. You have to ignore examples when there are too many. You may include just one, just to make your point come across. No quotations. No quotations.
Okay.
Just the main point of the text.
So after like having all your main ideas and you're trying to summarize, do you summarize using your own English, for example, your own writing, or you still stick to the way of the writer is writing that paragraph?
No, the point of the summarizing is to say the same thing in your own words.
Okay.
That's why we are saying this example. The author wrote this line in this way, and I'm saying, okay, that was his way of writing it. What is your way? How would you say this line? I'm talking about just this particular line, not the entire text, just this line. How would you say this particular line in your own words?
How to formulate it in your own ways.
Yeah. So Babuti said, for example, Subject has to answer a repeated question about how happy they were in a particular moment.
Oh, I see. It's changing a little bit.
See? Exactly. He said the same thing, but using his own words. He made it longer, but at least he was his
Hmm.
own words, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
When you
mean, normally
paraphrase,
you try to change, but at least it's like a change to make it like shorter, not longer.
the idea is to do both, to put it in your own words and to make it shorter. That's the idea, you know?
Uh-huh.
If you are going to make this line longer, then the next thing that you do, the next line that you're going to summarize, make it shorter,
Yeah, yeah,
so that you will
definitely.
compensate.
Yeah.
But the idea
Self-reflect.
is, yes, to make something this long a little bit shorter and with your own words. Another example um, that I saw here in the chat was no, Maggie said, for instance, subjects were asked about their happiness level.
That's what I asked about
Hmm?
happiness level. Uh-huh.
Because if you see in the original text, it says, "How happy are you at this moment?" Happy is a feeling, is about happiness, and
Mm-hmm.
they are asking how much of that happiness they have. So they're talking about a level of that feeling. So she got that
Uh-huh.
right, that it was about happiness level, right? So that was her
Subjects.
way to say the same thing, even shorter, and she kept the main idea, right, of the line.
This one is clarified. I think this one is more correct, I suppose.
Right, exactly. I came up with another example too. I came up with the line, subjects were asked, "Are you satisfied now?" Right? I
Subjects were
changed
asked, please.
happiness for satisfaction in this case. And I changed
Okay.
at this moment for now.
Uh-huh.
So that's another way to say the same thing but using my own words. That's
Yeah.
something that you would do when you extract some lines, some phrases from your text. You will not, in your summary, you will not put the exact same line again. You will not do that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to paraphrase them. Use your own word. That's why this little exercise right now. Okay?
I
Yeah,
see.
but
At this
Johnny,
moment.
Yes, Bubuti.
yeah, yeah, but with the second example, subject were asked, "Are you satisfied now?" Yeah, for me it is a yes and no question. No question. Are you satisfied? While the original question is, "How happy are you at this moment?" Yeah, I mean the degree of happiness that you are, and you might be a little subtle than this the question, the second question, where
Mm-hmm.
you can answer by yes. Are you satisfied at this moment now? No, I'm not. Or yes, I am. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a little bit tricky for me, yeah, because yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't translate for me the exact meaning of the
Uh-huh.
first or the yeah the phrase. Yeah, yeah, it
That's a
is.
very
I don't
good
know. It's
point, Bubuti.
yeah.
That's a very, very good point. The question, how it's phrased, yeah, would have a different kind of answer. That's correct. However, when I rephrased this, I was thinking about whether the answer would be positive or negative. If their answer, yes, I'm very much happy right now, that's a positive answer, right? And if you say I'm not satisfied right now, or I'm not happy, I'm very much disappointed, that would be a negative kind of answer, right? So I was thinking more like that. Not so much on how, I mean, the exact answer that we get. Um, but these are just examples of something simple. You will come across with a different kind of line, different kind of phrases. But this is just to give you an idea, how to uh, don't try to just copy all the time. Don't use the same kind of word. Try to take your mind somewhere else. Think it in a different way. Put it in a different way, or at least try. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to put all of our bullet points, all of our keywords that we extracted, and we're putting in some kind of answer. My aim with our text example was to come up with just one sentence. That was my aim. Perhaps depending on how long your text is, the different text that you're going to have, you may have to write in maybe 2 paragraphs or just 1 paragraph, just 1 line. It would all depend on how long your text is and how much you extract from that, how much you ignore. My aim was to just write down one sentence. And I came up first with this sentence. And there's a little problem with my example. The way that I put all the keywords into a sentence is like this. 30 adults participated in a gambling experiment where one group took L-DOPA and another group took a placebo. The results showed that the participant who took L-DOPA took more risk and experienced more pleasure. You can see that in the last line, I mentioned pleasure. I don't say happiness, how happy they are. I'm not using a reported speech, like they say this, they say that, I just paraphrase it by using a synonym or something that I consider a synonym. Pleasure. And the word more was related to the level of that feeling. So that was my way to say the same thing in a different way. All right? But there is a problem with this. My little summary attempt was only 34 words, but if I read again, there is a grammatical mistake. Well, I consider it grammatical. The grammar, though, is perfect. Just there's one thing that is wrong here. Can any of you recognize?
The thing is that, in fact, these are 2 sentences, not once. But write like one sentence, just separated with a comma. This is one problem, and the other you used were instead of which. You give too much description after were. You repeated one group took L-DOPA and another group took a placebo, and the result, the participants who took L-DOPA, you repeat the same. And
there you go. Yes, very good, Maggie. I was actually trying to get to the first point that you said. That was actually the biggest problem in this example. The other one was not so much as a big deal. Yes, I can repeat things. Yeah, it's not recommendable, but it wouldn't take point off. It wouldn't take point away. But yes, the first thing that you said, using 2 different sentences as one, that will give me 0 points. If I take the IELTS exam or any exam, I will not get any point for this example. You can see that the grammar is perfect, the words are perfect, it seems like it is coherent, but yet I will get 0 point, just for the point that you mentioned first. Not to mention that I was also repeating the same thing. So there you go, that was the problem. The comma. This is not a comma.
Yeah.
It is a full stop. Actually, should be a full stop. After that, I begin a new idea, a new concept, a new sentence. The results show that the participant who took this presented this as opposed to the other, right? That's a different idea. It's not inside the other sentence. So, I try to solve that problem by just putting which, for instance, 30 adults participated in a gambling experiment where one group took L-DOPA and another group took a placebo, which results show that the participant who took L-DOPA took more risk and experienced more pleasure. But it wasn't working, There was something that it didn't sound correct, in my opinion.
Because of repeating.
Yeah, because it's like trying to reconcile two different sentences into one by using a connector like which, but we're not actually connecting, So the reason I put this here and I speak to you about this is because probably you would encounter the same kind of problem in your summarizing. You would try to put all your keywords into a sentence or a group of sentences, and you may want to try to put just a comma when you actually should put a full stop, because the next sentence is a separate sentence. It's not related to the first one. If you eliminate the first one, you can still make sense of the second one. So this is the kind of a common mistake that we all make. And the reason I put this is just to show you, if you make the same kind of a mistake, you will get 0 in the test if you do this. So try to get rid of the habit of putting everything or separating different ideas, different clauses with just a comma. It doesn't work. All right? So don't do the same mistake that I did. So I still needed to find a solution. So I know what the problem is, but I need to find a solution. And I tried to solve it by just putting which, like I told you before, and it wasn't working. And the way that perhaps you would make it work is perhaps by rearranging. Just start over. Start from the beginning and try to say what you try to say in a different way. Don't just try to fit everything by just changing just one word and make it work. There will be moments that you will have to, start over. And this is the way that I did it. If you all can still see my screen, and it's also in the material, the final result, the right way to summarize it, was in the way that I'm going to read right now. 30 adults participated in a gambling experiment which showed that those who took L-DOPA took more risk and experienced more pleasure compared with those who only took a placebo. Now if you see, it's just one sentence. Okay. The second clause, the second part, is related directly to the first part. So if you eliminate the first part, it wouldn't make sense. If you eliminate the second part, the first part will not make sense. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I eliminated the problem of repeating. In the first part, repeating one thing, saying one thing. In the second part, repeating the same thing. I eliminated that problem. And I came up with actually a shorter sentence, only 29 words. It doesn't mean that you also have to have a 99-word summary. It's just to show up that it was actually shorter than the first one, which was 34 words. All right? So I kept the first part because that was important. That is the subject. 30 adults What did they do? Participated in a gambling experiment. What happened there? Well, one showed this result and the other showed that other result. That's basically it. I didn't keep any kind of details, right? I didn't put examples because that's not what summary is about. It's not about giving examples. It's not about giving details. It's just about capturing the main idea. Who did what? Who did what? 30 adults. What did they do? Participated in a gambling experiment. What happened there? Well, one group showed this and the other showed that. Ah. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
but
one example. Yes, Bubuti, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm because you know what? When I read this last one, 30 adults participated in the gambling experiment. We showed, I think the first one gave us or is giving more information because the result showed. We said that 30 adults participated in a gambling experiment and the result of that experiment. But here we say wish. The adult participate in the gambling experiment. We showed. Even if it is more or longer than the others, than the other one, I think it gives more information, and we are more comfortable with because we know all. We don't have to ask any questions. The result of that gambling showed that those who took L-DOPA took more risk and experience it. It's my point of view. I don't know exactly.
Right. And I think you misspoke. I think you meant to say it was shorter, not longer.
Short, not longer. You're right.
Yeah. So again, even when you try to put all your keywords into a sentence, again, you will come across with these same kind of problems, right? When you just try to use them and there will be word that just doesn't work. So you need to go back and perhaps read again, in order to come up with some ideas of how to rephrase the keywords that you have. Right?
Okay.
So, all right. So again, 3 main steps. Read your text. Read your text. You have 3 texts in the material. I hope you all have the material. You have 3 texts. You can choose one. We wouldn't have time to do all of them. I give you 3 options. You choose the one that you like. The last one is longer. So anyone who feels lucky, who feels inspired, can take that one. The last one is longer. You have 3 texts to choose from, and you would go through these 3 steps with that text. You will read. You would take 2 minutes to read. Then you're going to highlight the keywords. I don't know if you use computer or if you want to write them down. But in a piece of paper, and if you have pen or pencil, you can do that. However you want to do it, that's fine. But you need to extract those keywords that you are going to recognize, write it down somewhere else so that it will be clean, and you will have an idea of what you need to work with. You will take 2 minutes to do that. And once you have done that, once you have your keywords and phrases in a bullet point, you will try to construct a sentence using those words. Try not to use the same words that you find in the text. Try to use synonyms, try to paraphrase. If you find any way to make it shorter, great. Okay. and that would take you perhaps 7 minutes. We don't have much time, so you will go through this 3-step with the text that you will choose. So let me see. Camille, are you still here? Camille? Maybe not. Bobuti?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. You have 3 texts to choose from in the material today. Which text are you going to choose? The first one is about great at creating and even greater at destroying. The second one is about exploring human nature and which
Yeah, okay,
science
let me
does
take
it
the first
better.
one, yeah.
All right. The first one.
Okay.
Okay, you can begin, go through the process, read it, highlight keywords, write it down, and build a sentence with those words. All right? You have almost 12 minutes to do that. Maggie,
Yeah.
any questions so far?
I choose first. No. May I choose one?
Sure, please.
Okay,
Number
thanks.
1, number 2, or number 3?
One.
Number 1. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then go through the process. Go through the 3 steps. Okay?
We will have the same article or the same one.
Well, you can choose something different if you want.
Yeah,
But
no, I don't.
that's okay because
I
I
don't mind.
imagine
Yeah, okay.
it would be actually interesting because we can compare both words. Because I imagine when you use your own words at the moment of paraphrasing things, you would come up with different way to say things. So I would see the way that you say in comparison with the way that Maggie says the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. And Catherine, are you there? Catherine?
Hi.
Hey, are you
Yeah.
still with us?
Yes.
All right. What text are you going to choose?
Which one left?
You have text number 1 that it is about what we are good at, even either at creating or at destroying. The second text is about how to explain human nature, which science explains it better. And the third one is about whether there is such a thing as human nature.
Second one?
That was the third one. The second one is what science explains better human nature.
Yeah.
And speak about 3 sciences here.
Yeah. Yeah.
They chose number 1. Which one are you going to choose?
2.
Number 2, okay. Okay, then take the process, take the steps. You have 3 steps to follow.
Yeah.
All right. Do the same thing we did with the text example with this text, okay? You have a little bit more than 10 minutes. All right, guys. You still here?
Yeah.
All right. So you took number 1. Did you finish?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
actually, I did 2.
You did 2.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Excellent. So what
The
did
the
you
first one and the last one.
Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, why don't you paste here in the chat the first one and read it for us?
Okay. I'm just spinning the lesson. Okay. Um. So should I read just summarizing or
Just the final
or
result. Final
okay?
result. You wrote in a
Final.
computer?
Yes. No, I was writing with pencil on the
All
paper
right.
sheet. Okay. Creating my final result is a sentence. Creating is time-consuming process, and destruction is easy, but mass destruction needs creation, so both are related in an endless cycle.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me type it. I need a graphic reference.
Okay. Okay. Creating is time-consuming process,
It's time consuming process. Uh-huh.
and uh, destruction is easy.
Destruction is easy.
But
Is
mass destruction
uh-huh.
needs creation.
Uh-huh.
So both are related
Related. Uh-huh.
in an endless cycle.
In an endless cycle.
Hmm?
So you say creating is time consuming or a time consuming?
Creating is a time consuming process.
You put a time?
Actually, I didn't, but now when you mentioned it, I corrected.
No cheating. Okay. All right. Catherine?
Yeah, the philosophy.
Did you write in computer or in your notebook?
No,
You didn't
it
write it
is
at all.
right. No, but
Can you type
it's
it?
just okay.
Okay, type it in the chat. Because perhaps, unlike other teachers, I need a graphic reference. I need to see things. So type it, Catherine, in the chat. In the meantime, I will go through Maggie's summary. Okay? I don't know if you can hear me
Could
still.
you repeat, Johnny, because I didn't get you?
I said, in the meantime, while Catherine is typing her summary in the chat,
Yeah.
I will go through your summary. Okay?
Okay, sure.
All right. So your work creating is time-consuming process, and like I just pointed out, you needed an article there. Is a consuming process, right?
Yeah,
Because it's
that's my
basically, if
weakness,
you
as usual.
time consuming would be just a quality. So if you eliminate that, you will be left with creating is a process, right? If you
Okay.
don't put a, you would say creating is process. So that's why a was needed there. Creating is a time consuming process, and destruction is easy. But mass destruction is creation, so both are related in an endless cycle. Hmm. Let me go to the text. Creating is something that takes time. You got that right. To design things and work, blah blah blah. Destroy, yes, you eliminated the details. Destruction is easy. Then good there. You kept that. Even fish could do it. That's not important. Ironically, mass destruction needs some creation. And you put mass destruction needs creation. We created blah 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 blah. Details. We also nevertheless, the point that we are currently being creative. Details. So it's about destructing. We create to destroy and vice versa in an endless cycle. We are related in an endless cycle. Alright. What you did good was to eliminate all the details. Alright?
Yeah.
You kept it short. You kept it coherent to a certain extent. The one thing that I'm not so much comfortable with is that you use the same words.
Yeah.
You just joined them. Remember we said you not only need to join them, you also need to rephrase them. Because
Yeah.
in essence you are using the author's words, not your words. So
Yeah.
that's an important part. So how would you say, instead of saying a creating something takes time, you're right, distractions on creation. So that's your word. Creating is a time-consuming process. That's your word.
Yes.
So it's not in the text, so that's good. And destruction is easy. That part is exactly the same as in the text.
Yes.
You need to change that.
Okay. And so
So how would you extract that part, that little part, creating? Let's copy. Let's paste as a text. This part, creating is time-consuming process and destruction is easy. Just this little part. How would you rephrase that?
creating is a time-consuming process, and damaging is quick.
Damaging is quick. Could it be damaging? Damaging. Damaging.
Damage.
Damaging. I guess it is a synonym of a verb, but you have a noun here. So first, let's convert this noun into a verb. What is the verb of destruction?
Distract.
No.
No.
To distract. Yeah, no.
No.
That's not a word.
Not. How come? To distract is not a verb.
To this what? This
Distract. This.
no.
Destroy. Destroy.
Yes, there you go. Destroy. So the verb of destruction is destroy. All right. Another
Destroy.
word. That's a verb. Okay, let's keep that in mind. What is the another synonym or antonym of easy?
synonym, smooth.
Let's go with the antonym.
Antonym, difficult.
Difficult. Good. Difficult. Another word for difficult?
Hard.
Hard. More. Very good. Hard. I like that. Hard. So we can say destroy is hard. That is grammatically incorrect. So how can I use destroy with is hard?
But
Destroying. Yes.
Destroying is
It's
not hard.
Exactly. See, I led you to that conclusion.
Destroy. So creating is a time-consuming process, while destroying destroying is not hard.
Isn't hard at all. Yeah, isn't hard. So that's another way to say destruction is easy, right?
Yeah. But
Okay, and
mass destruction needs creation. It's also taken from the text.
Mm-hmm. So how would you rephrase that?
Massive damage or massive destroying requires
Massive damage. I like that. Massive damage. I like that. Requires
damage requires creation. I don't know how to change creation.
Transform it into an adjective.
Requires creative approach.
You go on the right track. Creative. You said creative, right?
Yep.
Okay. What is the noun of creative?
Creation. Noun?
Yes.
Creation.
No. Creative.
Creativity.
Exactly. Creativity, right? Massive damage requires creativity, right?
Yeah.
That's another way to say it.
Yes, exactly. Sounds much better.
Exactly.
So,
and that would be your own, well, it's our word, but that's another way to say the exact same thing, right? So you didn't steal the text from the text, you didn't steal from the author, you used your own word, and you kept the same point.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's the way that you would complete your summarizing. Now you only need to do the same kind of process, little small process with the last part. Endless cycle.
Never ending process, never ending
There you
story.
go. Never ending process. That's another way to say the same thing.
Yeah.
So
but a word process is repeated in one sentence, so it doesn't sound.
So what other word we have for process and cycle?
But we can say at the beginning, creative is time-consuming, and destroying is not hard. We can skip a word process and use it at the end. Can't we?
Come up with the final text then, the final summary.
Okay. Creating is time-consuming, and destroying.
Can you type in the chat?
Can I type it? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Type it. And
Yeah.
while you type, I will read. Bobuti, you are back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I will go through Catherine's summary, then I will go through yours. Okay, Bobuti?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
All right. In the meantime, Maggie is writing the final version of her summary. Catherine, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see your summary. You took text number 2. Okay. Can you read it, please, for us? Your
The summary.
Yeah.
Where philosophy provides methods to analyze arguments in real life by thinking. Biology studies body, and it's a scientific subject that can explain biological difference among different people. Psychology studies people's mind and behavior.
All right. Good. So which one explains better?
You ask me?
I'm just pulling your leg, because the question is, what is the best way to explore human nature? So which one is better?
Human nature. Maybe psychology.
It has a good argument for the psychology, right? Because it says studies people's mind and behavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other two doesn't do that, so perhaps that's the most suitable. Anyway, so yes, the articles speak about 3 different sciences, right?
Mm-hmm.
First is you wrote about philosophy, and you say philosophy provides methods to analyze arguments. The text says philosophy is very attractive, provides blah blah blah, a good way of learning how to think more, provides method to analyze argument. Gotcha. And its methods of analyzing arguments can be used methods to analyze arguments in real life. Situation in other areas of life. Situations by thinking. Actually, it's a very good sentence, Catherine. It's a very good sentence. Yes, you eliminated all the details. They're not important. You paraphrased what you got, and I assume you got provides way of learning to think. You replace that provides methods to analyze. And its methods of analyzing arguments can be used of a variety of situations in other areas of life, and you replace that with methods to analyze arguments in real life by thinking. Not to rely on experiment, and it's done through reflection by thinking. Reflection, you replace reflection by thinking. That is actually very much accurate. So that first part was very, very good, Catherine. Very good. It's short. You kept the main point. You used paraphrasing. You eliminated all the details. It was great. The second part, you speak about biology. Biology studies the body, and it's a scientific subject that can explain biological differences among different people. Biology is not a subject. It's a science.
Yeah.
So maybe subject will not be the right word there. In fact, you can just eliminate that word completely. You can just say biology studies the body and is scientific.
Yeah.
which is actually already in the text. Biology is scientific.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is already in the text and you are saying the same thing, what is another way to say the same thing?
Okay. It's a scientific. Mm, scientific.
Biology studies the body and it is scientific. Another way to say that.
Mm, biology. Scientifically study
Ah.
our body.
Yeah, don't laugh. I was thinking about that exactly. Yes, biology studies the body scientifically. Yeah, or biology scientifically studies the body. Yeah,
Good.
it's shorter. It keeps the same word and well, not the same word, but the same idea in the same way, right?
Yeah.
And it's shorter. So that's another way to say the same thing. Biology studies the body scientifically and explains the differences or the biological differences among different people. Yes, biological differences among different people. Yes, yes, that's correct. You say here what it does, not what it doesn't do. I think it was important in the text, but that's okay. Um, and then you speak about psychology. You put it in just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. Great. Psychology studies people's mind and behavior. Psychology is a scientific study of the mind and behavior, and it's a multifaceted discipline. It includes many subfields. Blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Blah. Social behavior and cognitive processes. So, is there any way to say behavior? Is there any synonym?
Behavior.
Acting.
Acting?
Yeah.
Actions, perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But still not the same.
If I Google it, I will find synonyms like conduct, actions, doings, manners, wave, comportment. So perhaps manners we could use in order just to not use the same word in the text. We end up saying psychology studies people's mind and actions, perhaps, or people's minds and manners.
I think manner is better.
Manners, right? That's basically what we try to say in what the text actually is trying to say, right? How people behave, how what kind of manners they have, how they act in front of other people, right? So in that way, you would change one little word, but you would keep the same idea by context, not by the text, by the word itself, but by the context, you know. In that way, you would, yes, summarize that little portion in your way, and just to avoid repetition and stealing from the author's word, you would just use a different word like manner, because you already replace people's mind, you replace study of the mind, so that's good. So pretty much good.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
Very well done, Catherine. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Now, Babuti,
Yeah.
let me see your text. Oh, before we go to you, Babuti, let me read just real quick what Maggie just rearranged her original summary. So, Maggie, is it done?
Yeah. Yes, I sent
Read it for us.
my sentence. Uh, okay. Creating is time consuming while destroying is not hard, but massive damage requires creativity, so both are related in a never ending process.
Very good. I loved it. See, you're not using any words from the text, except create and perhaps. Um, but that's okay. That's okay. You cannot always replace each and every word. But you kept the main idea. In my window, I see just 4 lines. So maybe if I check expand, it will be 2 lines or 1 line. You summarize an entire text in just 2 or 3 lines. You kept the main idea. You didn't include details, examples. You use your own words. So this is a perfect summary.
Thanks for
Well
help.
done, Maggie. Very good.
Thanks for your help.
Sure. Babuti,
Yeah.
now you. You, which text did you analyze?
The first one. The first one. Yeah.
Great at creating, even greater at destroying. Okay. Can you read it for us, please?
Yeah, I wrote this despite required time for any creation and the apparent easiness to destroy it. The human nature follows a loop in which we create something by destroying something else.
See, Maggie, this is what I was talking about before. Now, even though you
Could
have
you-
the same text.
Yeah. Could you repeat, Babuti?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote it in the chat box. Yeah, despite required time for any creation and the apparent easiness to destroy it. Apparent, yeah, because they say it isn't that easiness to destroy it. The human nature follows a loop. I mean, is an endless in which we create something by destroying something else. I remember it when we put the comma, yeah. And as you explained it at first, I really forgot it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
If
you
you're going
did you
to
see?
put-
Did you?
Uh-huh.
Did you? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, if you're going to put a comma, make sure that if you eliminate the first part, the second part will not make sense. If it still makes sense, that means that you can make a different sentence. So that comma will not be a comma, will be a full stop. Okay?
Yeah, but because I have despite required time for any creation and the apparent easiness to destroy it.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
committed the same mistake that I make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The human
That-
nature follows a loop in which we create something by destroying something else. Yeah.
If I read just that part after the comma, I can still make sense of it. So that means that comma is not necessary. The first part is not necessary. So that means it's not a comma, it's a full stop. Okay? So let's see. Despite required time for any creation and the apparent easiness to destroy it. The apparent easiness to destroy it. Where did you get the word apparent easiness?
It requires. Apparent is, yeah, needs some, ironically, mass destruction needs some creation.
I
Ironically,
know
mass
that.
destruction
I
needs
know
some
that.
creation.
Where did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get the word apparent? Apparent.
Apparent, yeah, yeah. We say that you can destroy it, but destruction is easy. But we say just in the following paragraph that ironically, mass destruction needs some creation. And I try to put those two concepts together by saying that it is apparent easiness. It isn't easy because we need some tool to
Another
destroy
part, but
something else. Yeah.
my problem with that line, with that word, is the meaning of that word. Can you tell me what apparent means? I know what it means. I just want to know if you know.
Yeah, apparent. Yeah, for me it is something that is obvious or something like that. Yeah.
No, that's not what it means.
Ah, okay.
Apparent means
That
seems to.
seems true.
Seems to. Like it looks like something, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
look like yeah. I think it is
it looks like something,
apparent.
but
Yeah,
it's
it is
not. You
some,
know, it
but
could
it
be or
isn't.
could
But
be
it isn't.
not. You know,
Yeah,
it is introducing a doubt, and
yeah.
that
That is why easiness. Yeah, easiness for
you
me is something that isn't so obvious. Yeah, we it is an apparent easiness because we need some
yeah,
tool to destroy
I
something else.
understand.
Yeah, that is why. Yeah,
I understand.
yeah.
Remember,
Okay.
you should not include your opinion. Okay, when you
Yeah.
summarize,
Okay.
you should summarize the text that you see in the text. You should not include your opinion. Whether for you or not is apparent, seems to be like that, or it's more likely to be like that. You, in your summary, you are including a doubt that is not present in the text. The text says, for instance, ironically, mass destruction needs some creation. It doesn't say may need, it probably need, perhaps it needs. It doesn't include any kind of doubt. It is stated in a certain way, you know?
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
sure that it does. It does need some creations. But you put a doubt here. You say it maybe need a creation. And that's your opinion.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah.
something that you
Okay.
should not do. So that word there should not go. All right.
Okay.
Despite required time for any creation. And if you don't include that word, the rest doesn't make much sense. Despite required time for any creation and easiness to destroy it,
Okay. Okay.
the human
I
nature
understand.
follows a loop. There's another way to say a cycle, yeah? A loop.
Yeah.
You did very good there. In which we create something by destroying something. So you just need to resolve the first part. Despite required
Okay.
time for any creation.
And the
I'm
easiness
not
here to
so
destroy.
comfortable with the word despite either.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you just, make it simpler and just eliminate just despite required time for any. Just begin with creation. Or you could say any creation requires
creation.
time.
Yeah.
Any creations requires time, but it requires less time to destroy it.
Okay.
Could be another way to say it. Or like Meg and I were saying before, creation needs time, which is different from the text because the text says creating something takes time, and you would say creation needs time. So that would be different. You could begin in that much simpler way.
I understand. Yeah. Creation required time.
The human nature follows a loop in which we create something by destroying something else. I don't know if the human nature follows a loop.
In this case, we are
I don't know if the nature that it is the one that follows the loop.
in an endless, an endless cycle, because such is human nature. Such is human nature. We are equally adept at both. We create, destroy, and vice versa in an endless cycle because such is human nature. That is the original text.
We create only to destroy. Human nature follows a loop in which we create something by destroying. By destroying? I guess that's another way to
Or
say it.
while we create something while destroying something else. While not by
I'm not sure it's the same meaning because it's like there is no option. You are going through the process of building something, and because you are into that process, you are destroying something else. It is inevitable. Inevitable. Inevitable.
inevitable. Yeah.
Inevitable. Inevitable. Okay. It's inevitable.
Yeah. I got it.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot avoid it, right? You cannot avoid it. But
Yeah.
and the text says that the reason why you create is just to destroy the thing. It's different.
Yeah, we create.
When you are
destroy.
creating this, it's not because you are creating this that do you destroy the other thing. No, you create this to destroy the other thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not quite the same thing. So perhaps you will need to rearrange the entire summary.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I really think that what you did, creating is a time-consuming process, and destruction easy, but mass destruction need creation. So both are related in endless cycle. How you summarize it was very, very, very. Yeah, it let me speechless. Yeah, I can't do anything, but it was very, very, very well done. At that point, yeah, in so short phrases or short paragraph, you summarize all of this, and we didn't miss anything. Creating is a time-consuming process, and destruction is a bad masterization need creation. So both are related in endless cycle. Yeah, I think. Yeah, well done.
Well done, Johnny.
Yeah.
That was you.
Yeah,
That was you.
deserve that. Yeah, I think it is well done.
All right. So, this is the way that you would normally summarize something in the correct way. It's not just reading a text like I used to do. Like when I have this kind of text and I just scan real quickly for one key line, and then I read real quickly the next paragraph and identify one another key line and try to make sense, try to make a connection between the line 1 and line 2, and then just give my opinion about those two lines. That's normally the way that most people do it, right?
But this is, in my opinion, very, very developing exercise because
Exactly.
it is really helping to get quick conclusion. Sometimes people talk, and we can't get what they talk about.
Exactly.
And you just try to find keywords and to build a conclusion from there, you save your time really.
Exactly. So this lesson today, this material, I think it will provide you with a tool to how to summarize something in an efficient way, because there are many ways to summarize things. By scanning just a text and get some keywords and make your own conclusion, your own idea, your own interpretation, and I think that actually takes more time. But I think with this process, with these steps, with this way of doing it, is much simpler, it's easier, and you actually get an effective result. Just look at what Maggie wrote. Just look at what Catherine and Bobuti wrote. Capturing the main points, using your own words. You are using everything. You are using vocabulary because you need to replace words. You need to use synonyms. You need antonyms. You need to know those words. You need to know the meaning of the word in order to use a different one. You are exercising your ability to rephrase things, so you are using paraphrasing. And you are using your ability to ignore details. And that will keep you on track. That will keep you focused on your main point and not going on the branches. So I think this is a good way to summarize something, and I hope you all got the idea of how to do it. And when we have these reading sessions where we have almost this long, same kind of length with the text, and of course you will not have the time, you will not have 12 minutes or 15 minutes to summarize right after you read it, but we post the materials in advance. And if you are going to participate in the session, you could download the material beforehand, follow this step for each paragraph, and you will always be prepared. If you are going to participate in the session, you will know exactly what to say. You will know that what you're going to say is accurate because you follow these steps, and you will do a really good job. And if you keep doing this again and again, this will become your habit. Every time you would see a text and later on, you will not need to follow these steps by writing it or taking the same time, because you will be already accustomed to this skill. You will be already used to doing this. It will come out automatically. But it all requires practice, and keep doing this again and again. We are going to keep posting readings article. That's a good chance for you to practice this method and to become better and better and better at English. That's my opinion.
Yeah, very good exercise. I like it.
Right. And I was recording, I'm still recording this session, and I also recorded the previous session. If any of you would like to have it, just text me in private and I will send it to you. Okay?
Yes, send please.
And this is going to be it. I think we could wrap up now. We did everything. We went through the process. We summarized different kind of texts. We got some feedback. We got some results. And you can use this material any time of your life. It's going to be on the website. You can download it any time. You can see this video to remember how you did it. I think that's it. Any questions or any comment about anything?
No.
Babuti?
Hey Johnny, hey guys.
Hey Jamie.
What's up?
Always late.
Hey, I was doing some other stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. So Babuti, are you still here? Oh, Catherine?
No. Thank you.
Any question, Catherine?
No.
No.
No? You understood everything?
Yes.
All right. All right. So, Jamie, yes, you're a little bit late. You are just finishing the session. We went
Okay.
over 30 minutes more than what we should. But I think we did a very good job.
Yeah, it
So,
was very, very good exercise. Really, really.
I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
And you could tell Rick later on that I was very strict, a very bad teacher.
No, 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 you were not. You were really helpful.
Okay.
Actually,
So,
I I sent the sentence for the second paragraph, but of course we don't need to go through just to conclude.
let me read it just
Really.
real quick. Male behavior related to women is learned as in society where nudity is common, there are no fetishes, which means that sexual manners result from culture and not inborn.
This part in brackets can be skipped, so
In society
it
where
may be
nudity is
much
common,
shorter.
fetishes, yeah, these are details.
Yeah.
Male behavior related to women or towards women, that is also an example. You know? The last text was speaking about something actually greater than this, bigger than that. They were just speaking about human nature. And they gave an example of nudity and the male's behavior to a woman as an example of where these behaviors come from. So
Yeah,
that was
you are
just an
right.
example. So it was actually about human nature and why we have or why we do the things that we do. So it was about actually the environment and circumstances rather than male behavior towards women. But
So
you tried,
okay.
so that was good. Tomorrow, tomorrow we're going to speak about how to structure your speech in an argument. When you need to give an opinion, when you need to give an argument, especially if you are in a debate, there are certain process, certain steps that you could follow to make your speech more organized and fluent and coherent. And that's what we're going to see tomorrow. I'm going to try to teach people how to structure the speech. So if you are interested, you can join tomorrow too. Hopefully, we will all learn how to do that, because sometimes I don't follow those processes either. Not always. So we will do that tomorrow, same time. So it's gonna be about speaking.
I wish I could join, but tomorrow I won't be able to join.
That's a pity. Well, I will try to record it too. So even if you are not able to join it, you can watch it later or listen later. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So Maggie, this is it. Thank you very much for being around, for sticking around.
Thank you. Thank you.
And see you next time, okay?
See you. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.